Good morning and welcome to RadioNyra. This is your host Vaishnavi, and today's conversation is truly inspiring. We often talk about career in technology, healthcare, and business, but today we are talking about something deeper, building a connection back to the land right here in America. And I'm truly excited to welcome our guest, someone who is redefining what it means to follow your roots, building something meaningful in new land. Joining us is Sasi Kanth Vallem, the visionary behind Vallem Vaari Farms. You call it VVF Agri
VVF.
Farm as well?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us, Vallem Garu, like how did you come up with this idea, and what brings you to agriculture to this land?
So it all started when I moved back to India from Switzerland. I looked at the terrace gardens in Bangalore. That's where my whole journey started. And more than the actual growing of plants, the way of engineering the structures, the growing structures and the electronics involved in automating the irrigation, that's what interested me. So I started replicating them, and I realized that it's much more than the passion now. So I need much more ground to start implementing all this. Then I started a company back in Bangalore itself.
Is
we
it
call it as,
agriculture?
it's setting up the gardens on the terrace.
Oh wow, that's a
Right,
wonderful
and Bangalore is an
concept.
urban jungle, and a lot of people really love to farm there.
Yes.
When you say farm, they want to garden there.
Yes.
So my business was to set up the vegetable garden on the terraces and then automate it using the IoT devices. So
Okay.
we didn't have the enough of automation at that time, so we had to create solenoid valves from the washing machines and then some timers and assemble them, make into a small
wow.
box. So that was fun. I think more than business, it was a big passion for me to recreate something. So that's how we started, and then moved on to commercial farming. We bought land near Mysore, Japagare, and then we built poly houses. So I was very interested in the precision farming
Okay.
with the technology. We did the hydroponic growing of color capsicum, bell peppers, and then now we are growing turmeric and ginger, with the residue-free turmeric and ginger.
Okay.
That's how my journey started, and moved to US in 2016, and still wanted to do all this. So started with the balconies in New Jersey, and then moved to Atlanta, and then got into little large scale with a couple of acres as a lease farm. And then 22 is when we started a large enterprise wherein a lot of people want to be involved. So I created a model wherein individuals who dream about farming but can't leave their jobs and then get onto the farming, onto the ground, join us as investors and participate in the farming. So they can join us in the actual farm, live on the farm, and also enjoy the whole business of it not being on the ground. That's a whole
Right.
journey that we started.
So, Shashi, before starting this agriculture journey, right? What were you before? Like, what is your journey before starting this agriculture?
I was into IT consulting, right? For about 25 years, I had my IT career.
Okay.
Started in Bangalore and lived in Switzerland, Singapore, multiple locations across the world. And my job was in DevOps consulting, and was all about finding out a faster, better, and cheaper ways of getting things done in the IT.
Right. Okay. So it's like very different, two different genres,
Yes.
like from IT to agriculture.
That's right.
Now, it's full time?
It's
for
full
you
time for me. Yeah, for
for
past 3 years,
agriculture?
this is a full time for me.
So, what were your challenges in the early days when you started, like with regards to land or acquisition or leases or maybe climate also? What were the early challenges when you just started building this?
Many challenges in terms of even the cultural challenges. So when I started going and meeting the farmers, the question was, you guys are into IT, you're more theoretical, what would you know? We have been farming for 20 years, and we know things better than you, right? So with all due respects, and we keep saying that yes, absolutely, you have the experience, but then there are things that are different, and there are things that you would have started on the wrong foot, and then you have been continuing for those many years. It's not to challenge anybody, it's just that a fresh perspective is what we bring.
Right.
And not knowing the background, not having the baggage, and looking at things from the fresh perspective itself can bring a lot of new ideas. So that's one. And then finding the land in India, absolute challenge. Right? Finding the land at the right price and with all the documentation. But we figured it out, and then we started.
Okay.
And the one more challenge is growing is the most easiest, and selling it at a right price where you can make money more than what you spent. That has been the most challenging. and it still continues to be the challenging. And having the right capital to invest and sustain for years, that's a big challenge. So that's why, to fix all these problems, to overcome all these challenges, is where we created the company with individual participation, investor participation, and people boots on the ground with expertise, and then capturing the markets with a brand name. So we were able to figure out all these things, and heavy diversification is what we got into.
Okay.
So when you look at us as a farmers, we are not the people who till the farm and put the seed and then sell those. Not just that. That's a portion of it.
Okay.
Right? We work on multiple different areas around the farming, and the diversity helps us with any risks that we get into in the farming.
Okay. So when was the moment you realized that yes, the homework, the background is working now? When did you see that shift? The moment when you realize that yes, it's gonna work and it's working now.
I have this clarity that it will work because food is needed.
Yeah.
Right, and population is growing. The cultivatable land is not growing. Right, which means that we need to produce more in the given land. Right, and the demand for food continues to be there, whatever happens. This is a recession-free industry. Right, and but then the work is extremely hard, uncertain. There is no guarantee of your return. Right, the money that you spend, there's no guarantee that it will come back.
Right.
So with all these challenges, there are very few people who wants to get in, which means that there is enough demand and low supply. So that's a field that we wanted to be in. Right?
Yeah.
I have no worries about putting a lot of hard work. So it worked out well, and I realized that nobody will beat me in the competition.
Absolutely. Good luck for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, when we talk about the basics of farming, right? Okay, doing a business or doing an agriculture part of work as a farming, I would say like a farming person. In India, it's different.
Right.
But when it comes to US, it's a pretty new land for someone to start farming. So what are the basic steps you would say, to whoever wants to start farming business, or the basics, like what 3 steps they need to take care of if they want to begin farming in US?
So for anybody who wants to start farming, before they actually till the land, they have to farm on the Excel. Excel is MS Excel on the laptop, on the computer. Okay? Which means that we have to have a perfect clarity on the business plan. Okay. Farming as such is known to be people wanted to look at it as a service. For me, it's not a service, it's a business. Okay, it's a business that is giving food, which is very important for people. So which means that while trying to make money, you are able to give good food to the people. It's not the other way around. Right? If anybody has that confusion to get into the farming for providing a service to the people, they should rethink. Right? Because if they don't sustain their business, they can't provide service to anybody. Right? So first and foremost is have a plan, very clear plan. And do not assume that just because we are working very hard, people will pay that kind of a price. Your hard work doesn't matter, your results matter there. Right? And the person who can buy the tomato at, let's say, $1 in the store will not pay you $3 just because you worked hard.
Absolutely.
So the value, it's a value-based society now, right? And if you are selling your tomato at $3, if they perceive the value as a high quality, residue-free, or organically grown, whatever, or I know the farmer with all these fields, then they will pay the $3, which means that you have to create that value. Right? And we need to have perfect clarity on all these things before we start. And buying the land is the most easiest. 5 of the friends can combine together and buy $1 million farm. Right? What next is the question. Who out of them will be on the boots on the ground? Right?
That's important.
That's important. Every Friday when you are done with the work, and Saturday, Sunday, if you want to relax, this is not for you. Right? Morning 5 o'clock, if you have to wake up, you have to wake up. Because the growing continues when you're sleeping. Right? So we have to provide everything to the farms. So there is nothing like a work-life balance. Okay, and because there is no work, there is no different life. This itself is life. So you should just enjoy it. If you have that kind of personality, this is for you.
Wonderful.
And capital. Very important. Very important is the capital. So if you're starting assuming that you will put certain money and in 6 months to 1 year you will recover that and make profits, absolutely no.
Okay.
So you have to be prepared for a 5-year plan.
Okay.
Assume that for the first 3 years with your learning curve, you are burning money.
Right.
You're not getting anything back. And then only if you can sustain that burn for a 3-year period and learn the whole thing, then you will start making money. If you do things right.
Right. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
all this clarity has to be there and the risk appetite has to be there.
Mhm.
Let's assume that you spent $100,000 first year, you lost everything. Now, do you have enough capital to put more? And do you have enough risk appetite to still put more?
Mm.
If these two things are answered, then yes, that's when you should get into. Otherwise, it's okay to farm in your backyard,
Yeah.
enjoy the vegetables, and don't have a stress of this business. Right? Just gardening at home is so far different from farming professionally and commercially.
Correct. So does it need any kind of licensing requirement, or what kind of licensing does it need?
Basically, when you are into farming, there are many licenses that are involved, food safety and then your growing practices, because you're producing food that people would consume. So your premises, how clean they are, and then your packing facilities, your food handler licenses, food safety licenses, and many licenses comes into picture.
Okay.
Right. So there are many material available in every county. Encourages people to work through those workshops and trainings, and then they would help.
Okay. So to start this business, what is the minimum land size one should
You can
look
just start
at?
with your backyard. If you have 1,000 square feet backyard, start using every inch of it and produce it, and then make sure you sell it. Right. So if you are into IT or if you are into any other jobs, and if you feel low on selling a vegetable, right, at a commercial level, you can't do that. So just start with your backyard, and maybe if you're growing tomatoes of 10 pounds, if you're consuming 2 pounds, sell 8 pounds.
Right.
And get to understand the concepts of selling and going there and delivering it. Your fuel cost may be higher than your actual money that you're getting, but just a trial on how it works. Later you can scale up and optimize the whole cost. So it's important to start somewhere. So there is nothing like you have to start with 100 acres or a 5 acre or 1 acre. Right. You could start as small as possible, learn it, pilot it, and then move on to the next steps based on your speed.
Okay.
Yeah, not everybody has to get into 300 acres.
Yeah.
One can get into 1 acre and then 5 acres and
I mean,
take
it's
their own
just
time.
gradually they need to increase the capacity.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
I have seen people who have tilled up 5 acre land and planted, but then they couldn't manage weeds.
Oh man.
Right, and the whole investment will go bad.
Okay.
Right, so it's important to make that small pilot, have a trial, and then expand into the larger scale.
Okay. How did you decide about which crops to grow? Like, is there a lot of research happens, or like?
It's most trial and error. And simple research could be when you go to an Indian store, you will look at what vegetables at what price. Right, you will obviously take the topmost pricey vegetable, and then you will also look at what it takes to grow them, how much expense it takes to grow them, and then how much expense it takes to harvest them. So it's like a simple Excel sheet again. Your top paying items versus low cost items, that's the low hanging fruit for you.
Right.
And you figure that out, and you'll look at the growing conditions.
Yeah.
See whether it grows into your location or not, and based on that you will finalize on which crops and how easy to transport. Right, you can grow a lot of gongura, but it's a very sensitive leaf. Right, if you have the transportation of, let's say, 4 hours, if you don't have trucks with the coolers, it may go bad. But when you grow tomato, it may last longer compared to gongura. When you make brinjal, it may last much longer than gongura. So it's a lot of these Excels again. That's why you farm in Excel before you actually farm.
Right. So which crops are more profitable, like for you? Like you have been seeing, like you have been grown a lot of crops. So which crop specifically you say that this crop is really making good money? Yeah.
So we do sitafal a lot. We like that. That's more profitable. Because there is no import of sitafal into the country. You cannot import. And so the local growing is the way to supply. And it's not easy to transport, highly perishable. And you have to be very careful on how to pick it. You can't pick it at one shot, all the sugar apple it's called. Right? So there is a lot of complexity involved. So I selected that because it takes a lot of effort to get into that, and so not much of supply, and so the demand would be high. So we took the toughest of the fruit to handle.
How long does it take to grow? And
Once you put the seed, it will be 3 years of growing. 4th year it will start, and 5th year is a commercial output.
okay,
Yeah.
3 years?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's why you said 5 years in the beginning.
Yeah,
You need to
5
wait
years. We need to wait for that much
like
time.
a longer time
Yeah,
to see
and
the
then
results.
be ready
Yeah.
for the natural calamities. We grew this for 3 years,
Right.
and this year beginning we had a freeze, so everything
Okay.
died down.
Oh my god.
So which means that about $600,000 of our effort is gone, right? And so we have to be prepared for all
So
those
risk
things.
is involved
Risk,
here.
extreme risks are
Extreme
involved.
risk,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you
Especially-
cannot natural calamity. You cannot,
Yeah, you cannot,
avoid those, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's the reason you would see that there are thousands and thousands of acres of oranges grown, while there are few hundreds of acres of these fruits are grown, right? That's
Okay.
why the orange price is so cheap
Right.
when compared to this fruit, which is very expensive, right? Because not many people want to take that risk, or they are clear that this is very risky and this will not work.
Yeah.
But somebody who would try to find out how this risk can be mitigated and can be grown in those conditions would win.
Okay.
But the risk is very high.
Okay. Yeah. Now you said 600,000. It's
Yeah.
like a huge money.
Yeah, it's a huge money,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. How do you evaluate soil quality? How do you, or if the soil quality is like not 100% good, then how do you improvise it? Do you use any technology or?
So we go for the soil tests. So every county, the good thing about United States is that every county has farm extension offices.
Okay.
Okay, you can take a soil sample and send them out, and they will give you the complete analysis of what are the macro and micro elements that are excess or missing.
Right.
And you can amend. You can amend in multiple forms, either synthetic fertilizer or organic ways of doing it.
Okay.
Right, and then once you amend it, you can start growing. And we start with the soil test first,
Okay.
and water test too.
Water test as well.
Yeah.
So what are the irrigation methods do you recommend?
Now depending on the soil, drip is an ideal way of irrigation.
Okay.
But then in our example of Florida soils, it's a sandy soil,
Okay.
and when you put into a drip, the water goes down very quick, so it doesn't hold well.
Okay.
So we use micro sprinklers there, so that the water is percolated all around 3 feet of the radius.
Okay.
When compared to a drip, which is at a drop size,
Okay.
right? But when it comes to Georgia, in our Atlanta farm, we would use drip because the soil is it has a holding capacity.
Right.
And so drip is better there. So it all depends on which location and your soil types and different methods. And
Did you face any water access related
no,
challenges?
nothing so far.
Not in Florida, maybe other regions
No,
which you explore.
no. So we have been only doing in Florida and Georgia.
Georgia.
Now we are expanding to Texas and California. But so far, places what we have seen, we are good with water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said the freezing is one of the challenge,
Yeah.
when it comes to natural calamities. So what other, the weather challenges
Hurricanes.
do you face? Oh.
Yeah, we are in Florida, where every year we'll have hurricanes, multiples of them.
Yeah.
Right. So we also are into greenhouses. So biggest challenge with the greenhouses, they're expensive to build, expensive to maintain, and then with one hurricane we have a big risk. So, but then they have their own advantages. So that's why we continue with them, and then as soon as the hurricane is there, we keep watching the winds. Any time when it is predicted about 30 miles, we'll have to cut down the plastic.
Right.
Okay, it costs us at least $100,000 to put the plastic back, but then by cutting down and taking the loss of 100,000, we'll save a couple of millions of greenhouse structures, which otherwise will crumble.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's a tough decision to take, and we have to have the manpower ready. And when everybody are moving out to shelters at the time of hurricane, we would be moving in towards the farms to make sure that we handle these activities. So
I think that's the
risk.
toughest
Yeah, it's the toughest,
job
yes.
for you.
Yeah.
And also risky, like.
Oh, very risky. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then let's say if the county announced saying that evacuation orders, there's nothing which we can do. We just have to evacuate and then stay and then hope for the best and then come back to see what's left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mango is my favorite fruit. So I really want to ask you a question. Is it easy to grow mangoes or sapotas in US land?
Oh yeah. US land is a very broad term. You need to have the right zone.
Zone. Okay.
Weather conditions. So whenever we say zone, it's about the weather condition.
Okay.
US is measured in hardiness zones. Right? Hardiness zones means in the winter, how many hours you will have the freeze in that zone.
Okay.
Right? The least freeze hours is the hardiest zone. So zone 11 is the most hardiest, which is towards Florida, end of Florida, southmost of Florida, after Miami, a place called Homestead. Right. Otherwise, rest of the zones they have freeze for certain amount of hours in the year. Right. So mangoes would grow very well in the 11 zone 11, zone 10, and even 9. Right. But the production depends on the extreme zones. In the sense, if it is 11, there's a high productivity, and rest of the zones you will have risks of freezing. Right. Maybe for 3 years there is no freeze. The mango would do very well, but when it freezes again, you may lose everything in terms of the stems cutting, and then it may come back depending on how hard the freeze is.
Okay.
So yeah, mango, sapota, sitafal, the same thing goes.
Okay. So looking at what you're explaining, does it need like everyday planning, or is it like you plan it ahead of like 1 year and do the entire thing? How does it happen?
Yeah, you plan ahead for 1 year and be ready to for any of the surprises every minute.
Absolutely, yeah.
So your planning is definitely must, but then surprises are always there. Your prediction for the weather is just 2 weeks ahead. Okay, 3 weeks ahead.
Okay.
So there are certain things we can do.
Okay.
Because let's say if they call for freezing, if you want to put up the heaters, your propane gas, your heater hardware, and all of them, everybody is looking for it.
Yes.
Right? You may not even get that.
Yes.
Right? The sheets to cover the plants, you may not get that. So you have to be quite prepared. So which means your preparation itself will cost you a lot of money. Right? So whether to spend that money and prepare and be ready, or take the risk and take the loss, is a business calculation again.
Okay. So when we talk about business calculation, the revenue part, right? So in the revenue part, how is that like farming versus other sources? Like you are spending, say, X amount of money. So what are the expectations one can have as in profit? I mean, roughly, like, you spend this much. Usually in business, how do we calculate profit? How does it happen in farming when it comes to revenue split?
Very tough to answer. First of all, having a break even means that you have achieved a lot in your life.
Wow, okay.
Right? And then, if you are able to have a positive cash flow in farming in the first few years, that means you have done something great. Right? It can vary from anywhere from 10% all the way to 100% of profit. Okay, depending on what you do. And it can also vary reverse. You may lose everything. All your 100% is lost too. Right? So, in an idealistic scenario, depending on the scale at which you farm, if you are able to make a 20% year on year, which is good, very good.
Okay.
Right? But then you have to figure out what makes you that.
How do you achieve?
How do you achieve that? And
20%.
20% on a $100,000 investment, which is $20,000 per year. It may not be a big money for some, but 20% on a $10 million, which is a $2 million, is a good money. So depending on what you're putting at risk versus what you're getting it back, right? And that's why it's always important to take the baby steps before you put a lot of money into this, and understand what your strengths are. So for somebody who's very, very good with growing plants, business may not be their strength.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So they will produce best quality produce, but they'll not be able to sell.
Yeah.
Right? But for somebody who is very business savvy, who can sell anything, they may not be very good with growing. Right? They can sell anything, but they just can't grow. They don't have the skills to grow. They don't have the patience to grow.
Right.
So we need to have a combination of all these skills into one or multiple people to run this show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the business selling skills, right? So for you, like growing is one part of the business. How did you get a channel for distributing into the market? What are the like I would say like the positive things you got, which made given you the path to get into the market, and also what are the challenges you faced when you went on to sell your crops into the market?
So since the beginning, I started with the maybe about 1 acre lease land. When I started growing, I was under the assumption that people would come and buy everything and then I'll be out, but that was not the case. It was very tough to sell. Right. And the moment we look at the pricing compared to any Indian grocery store, we would always be expensive because of the cost involved. Right. And then I used to always wonder why people are not paying premium in spite of my so much of hard work. That's when I realized it doesn't matter on my hard work. It matters on the product, the availability of the comparable product in the market, and how expensive or cheap I am. Right? I mean, there are always premium customers who are interested in buying directly from the farm, knowing the farmer, and then knowing their practices to buy and then pay a premium.
Right.
In our community, it's not about affordability, right? When they have to spend a $5,000 on a cruise, they don't blink an eye. Okay, when they have to spend $9.99 on something where that same something is available at $8.99, they don't want to spend that $1.
Yes.
Right? It's like a deal mentality. It's
Right.
like they're getting a deal. Why do lose the deal? It's not about affordability at all. So it applies in the farming also, right? When the imported produce from the South American countries are available at a cheaper price, locally grown vegetables, irrespective of their freshness or quality or whatever, would look to be an unnecessary spend.
Okay.
Right? So that's where we have to really spend a lot of time and effort in showcasing the premium, why this is premium, and then we're only looking at attracting top 10% of the customers who value the premium. But rest of the 90% who are conscious about what they spend on it, they have the market too.
Yes.
Right. So we also import produce. We import a lot of produce from outside America, and then go through the processes and distribute them and sell them. So back to your point on how did we start with the distribution is when we started trying to sell to the end customer, we couldn't get the scale. So let's say there are 20 people who came and bought 20 pounds of gongura, but we have 100 pounds of gongura.
That's like direct customer you are saying.
Yeah, direct customer. Then we had to go through the channels of Indian groceries or B2B sales.
Okay.
When we reach the B2B sales, the comparison is always with imported produce.
Okay.
So we're always expensive, right? And then we had to bring the prices down and then match to that one and try to sell, but it didn't make any money, but we gained a lot of experience. Right? We continued on that. To give an example, I took about 100 pounds of gongura. I took it in my truck, went to deliver in the Indian grocery store, and then I got about $190, which didn't even work for any of my expenses or the truck or anything. But then it's a great experience. That's how I started. And then when I moved to Florida and started at a large scale, the distributors have said, okay, grow all that you can, we'll buy. Okay, they brought it when the weather is challenging for outside people when we grow in the greenhouses. But the moment everybody started growing, when they have a cheaper options, they stopped picking our calls. So I was sitting there with 2 acres of fully grown gongura and 10 people.
How was your feeling?
Yeah, and 10 people's salary. Every week we have to pay the salaries.
God. Yeah.
And the guy was not picking, so I don't know what to do with that. Then it was overwhelming.
God.
Then I realized that after all the hard work, if you are dependent on one distributor to buy your produce, we are at a risk of the business.
Absolutely.
Right? The distributor has 10 different farmers waiting for him to buy their product. But for the farmer, if that's the only distributor whom we are waiting for, or a couple of distributors, and based on the markets, they can do anything to you.
Right.
So that's when I realized we have to get to the market. Get to the market as close to the end customer possible. That's when we started working on our branding. And since the beginning, we have been very conscious about our branding, how people would perceive us as a brand, right? And with this brand, the Indian stores started buying from us, and we were able to sell. So we have become the distributor ourselves now.
Wow,
Right.
that's amazing.
So we are one of the distributors. We are growing distributors, and we are now importing, buying locally from the local farmers, growing our own, and distributing to Indian stores, who in turn sell to the end customers.
Okay, I think that's another milestone for you,
Another big
right?
milestone
Being
for
a
us, yes.
distributor as well.
Right. Yeah.
How do you manage growing and distribution?
It's very hard to put ourselves into different locations, and each and everything is a new field for us.
Correct.
So it's not that we have been farming for 20 plus years. We started farming,
Right.
and so we fortunately have a good team in the back.
Wonderful.
And a very well woman powered team what we have.
Wow,
And,
that's a good point.
yes, and back end and also on the ground in the farming, we have very strong women who would handle our farms there.
Okay.
And so with the team there, we're able to do it. So
how big is your team?
So we have about 6 plus 4, about 10-member team on the ground who are actually into farm actual work, and we have a farm management team, 1 person in a specific farm, and then we have complete administration handled by 4 people,
Okay.
And we have a lot of companies who would provide services for us in the farming.
Okay.
Okay, and then we have teams back in India and in the US who would run these shows all over.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you say premium,
Mhm.
right? So is it like you're talking about organic, inorganic? Like what kind of does it have like in farming? You have like organic farming.
We are not into organic at all yet.
Okay.
Okay, our
Okay.
end goal is to provide a very healthy food to the customer, right? And organic is a way to measure the healthy food at this time, and because there are standards set by USDA, and if you have to be called as USDA organic, it has to be OMRA certified.
Okay.
Okay, we have not got into that.
Okay.
Okay, at some point we want to get into that, because what we realized is that with the passion of getting into organic, when you start the business itself with that, it's very easy to fail.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's not more much profitable, you would say? That's what
It
you
is
say?
profitable, but then the learning curve is very high.
Okay,
The time it takes to get certified is very high.
right.
So we started with general traditional farming. Okay, traditional farming is not the organic farming, unfortunately.
Yes.
It's with the typical synthetic farming, and then we are slowly moving our one of the farm, which is in Atlanta, into organic practices. That farm, fortunately, when we bought, has never been into chemical farm.
Okay.
So with that, we are getting into the natural way of farming there. So our hope is to, in next few years, we would convert all our farms into organic methods.
Okay, wonderful.
yeah.
That's a long roadmap
That's
for
a
you.
long roadmap. And
Okay.
then premium doesn't just come from organic. Okay, the people are very scared with the synthetics. Okay, chemistry is all over us, right? People are worried about chemicals, right? But then it's a rampant use of chemicals is people have to worry about. The moment you have a heart attack, the moment you have a headache, the moment you have an ailment, you are dependent on a chemical molecule in the form of a tablet.
Yes.
You're not waiting for concussions, or you're not waiting for something, right? You're taking it, right? But then you have a measured way of doing that. But in the farming, the biggest challenge is people who doesn't understand the chemistry. Just to get more produce, just to make things better, they would use excess of everything. So if you tell a farmer that use DAP and it will give you the yield by this much, when you put one bag, they will put 2 bags with an expectation that they will get double the yield, which is not the case, because when you put this much of DAP into the soil, it's like if you add certain amount of salt, it gives you taste.
Yeah.
If you make 4 times of that, it doesn't give you taste. You
There is
can't
a
have it.
proportion
There's
which
a proportion,
you need to.
yes.
Okay.
So because of this excess usage, your water is getting contaminated, right? The salts are getting stayed in the soil, right? It doesn't mean if you dump DAP, the plant will take everything. The plant will only take how much ever it can take.
Exactly.
But then it will burn the roots. It will negatively impact, and most impact is on the soil, which would hold that salts, and then it will not release, and it will leach into the ground, and your water table gets contaminated.
Right.
That's the biggest problem.
Right.
Otherwise, chemistry is all over us. You can't avoid a chemical.
You need to use it in proportion.
In the right way, yes.
Right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's human tendency. Most of the people they're so greedy about growing it faster, and then they end up doing nothing with that. Right. They don't see
So,
the results.
The major problem is that even if when you take a 20-year experienced farmer, when you look at it, their experience is all about using those 10 steps exactly the same way for 20 years. Whether those 10 steps are right or wrong, they would not even question that.
Right.
So now and they will say 20-20-20 is what I'm using. What it means by 20-20-20, nobody would understand that. It's a nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in the form of 20% of each.
Okay.
So there is 60% of it, and rest of the 40% is a filler used.
Okay.
And with the micro elements of calcium, molybdenum, magnesium, and all of them. So when they don't have this understanding, when they dump a white powder of 20-20-20 for past 20 years, when they don't understand it, it's a problem.
Correct.
Right? The experience is valuable, but then experience without the right knowledge is harmful.
Correct.
Right? Well, so those are the aspects that we try to learn well.
Right.
Because when you don't know anything, when you have no experience, you're at a clean slate, like a kid.
Yeah.
And if we learn things right, then we are at a better advantage than anybody at 20 years of experience.
Right.
So that's what we are banking upon and learning continuously.
Okay. How does your farming selected the fertilizers? Like how what kind of research went on using fertilizers?
Uh, we go for the soil test,
Okay.
and based on the variety of vegetable that we are growing, it has certain expectations, and our soil has certain elements. Now there is some of the elements which are deficient, some of the elements which are high. So based on that we amend them.
Right.
So based on that we select the fertilizer. So we have companies who would do the soil test, and there are agronomists who would analyze it and give us a recommendation. It's like a doctor, and then we use that.
Okay.
And while going through all this, we learn.
Okay.
Right, so we just don't go with the number 20, 20, 20. We understand what it means by that.
Absolutely. So Shashi, tell us about like how what is like Vallem Farm, right? Vallem Farms. So what is it growing right now, and how does the roadmap for next? What is your plan? Like, what's your vision of taking this farming?
Right. So Vallem Vaari Farms, we created it in 2022. Right, and many people ask, why did you put your family name to this one?
Okay.
Okay, when a lot of investors are investing money, why is this your family name in this? Right. So my answer is that for everybody, it's a matter of few thousands of dollars, which is an investment. For me, this is my family name, which is at an investment. When I fail, I always have a worry that my name, my family name, would be at a stake.
Yes.
Right. Losing $100,000 is not a big deal, but then when you lose your family name, that's a big thing. So that's my investment into this. So everybody should be very happy about that.
Okay.
Right. So when situations happens, and when somebody goes to my village and asks my dad that your son did this, when my dad questions me on why you did, that's a big thing rather than anybody suing me on anything. So your investments are safe with this.
Right. So you are taking bigger risk.
I'm taking a bigger risk, yeah.
Right.
And I left my career. I was associate partner at IBM, and at the peak of my career, and had 10 more years of career, and I left all that, not as a favor to anybody, for myself, because I love this, and that was the right time for me to take that little jump, and then got in. And I have a very big passion for farming, but I don't confuse the passion to the business.
Okay.
Right? Every dollar has to make dollar plus.
Right.
Right? While I'm enjoying the passion. Right? And so, starting with the business itself, we started with a very good diversifications. Right? So, in a joking way, I say that we sell $3 gongura. We also would sell $3 million farm home. Right? Anything between is what we handle with. Right, so we have multiple lines of businesses. We import seeds, we sell seeds, we grow seedlings out of them, we sell those seedlings all over the US. We grow vegetables out of the seedlings, we sell vegetables. Right, we are getting into value-added products out of the vegetables, the frozen vegetables to hold the freshness and supply around. And then we also buy farmlands, develop the farmlands, and sell the farmlands. We also fractionalize the farmland purchase for somebody who wants to invest only $25,000 and be part of $1 million farmland. We have SEC offerings where you can buy those with safety.
Okay.
Right, and we also sell a lot of ornamental plants like parijatam, all the kind of jasmines, any rare Indian ornamental, we have them. Right, we develop those and we sell them all over the US. And we are all into farm vacations. So we have farmhouses where people can come stay in the farmhouse and enjoy the farming. And they can enjoy, it's like a resort there, farming resort.
Right.
So we make, in every aspect of it, we want to make money. Right. Because it's a service we provide. Right? And we are also getting into building farm-based community living, wherein we're calling it as a golden living.
Okay.
For somebody, I was asking myself a question, what would I do at a 60-year-old? Right? I will live for 100 years. I will work till 100 years. But what do I do after a certain age? Okay, and how do I want my life to be? Right? I want to be in a community of similar-minded people who are into farming, gardening, and then want to have services all around us, wherein we will be able to have a community kitchen, and we eat there, and if I want to cook, I will cook and sell to them, and many of this. So I'm trying to build those communities. So I'm actually planning for my future.
Okay.
And this is a needed service for everybody.
Correct.
I'm not going to go back. My daughters are settled here. So when I'm settling here, when I'm handling my businesses both in the US and India, I need to have a community to live. So the same expectation from many, many people.
Right.
And so we started with the vision, we started with the looking for the land, and if everything works out, we'll build a few hundred homes in that and sell to the people who are interested in farm community living. We call it as golden living, and then that's a business too.
Okay.
That's a business that we bank upon heavily,
Right.
because there are a lot of customers who are interested in that, a lot of investors who wanted to invest into that, and we are creating a platform for this.
Wow, that's a
Yeah.
brilliant roadmap you have.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I think you gave us a lot of information, and it's so amazing. It's inspiring too. Like, it's a beautiful story which you told.
Yeah.
So, what are your, maybe I would say, like, words for people, who wants to start farming? What do you think? Like, how one should be, maybe, when they see you talking, or when they see that the crops are growing really good on your Instagram page, or when you're talking on YouTube, and they get inspired, right?
Yeah.
But they don't know where to start. What is your message for those people?
As we said before, start your farm in your computer first. Okay, before you buy the land, before you even start tilling the land, be clear on what's your roadmap is. Right. Put everything. The planning is most important.
Okay.
Right, and be close to the reality. I always say measure twice and cut once.
Okay.
Right. If you start cutting it and if you realize the measurement is wrong, you can't join it back.
Right.
Right. So always research around and finalize what crops. Okay. More than growing, finalize on, have a plan on how would you sell it,
Right.
how would you make money out of it. Once you have the clarity is when you can start looking at buying the land, finalize which location is for you. Not everybody has to move to Florida.
Okay.
Right? Depending on what they want to grow, they can figure
Right.
out a place in their area. Right? And if Florida is the place, yes, there's always options.
Okay.
And at the same time, Florida has its own issues, have own merits and demerits. So understanding all that, make a plan, and then start getting into that. And expect that it's going to be a hard journey. When I was in IT, nothing was easy. Okay, our stresses were very, very high, right? And you are answerable and responsible for something where you don't have a control,
Right.
right? And you always have the customers, you will have your shareholders, everybody who are on your head, even in the IT jobs, right? The same thing is here in the farming, right? In an IT job, you are sitting in a comfortable air-conditioned rooms. Okay, that is a little better, but when it comes to the farming, you are right out in the ground and with all the elements, right? And I would never say that IT job is the most easiest. It has been the toughest because I've done it for 25 years, right? The travel kills you, and a lot of things. It depends on how you enjoy it, right? Don't come with the misconception that you will bring certain amount of money and that amount would multiply in no time. Right, and have that perfect clarity that it's like any business. There are good chances of loss, and when you do things right, there is a good opportunity to make money, and have a practical understanding of what it's going to be, and be ready to lose, and you will definitely succeed.
Right.
Yeah.
So Shashi, you are an IT person, and now it's all about AI, which is happening
Yeah,
and around the market, which is trending. Everyone is talking about AI. So, is your technology and is your IT experience and this AI, do you bring it into farming as well?
Yeah.
Like,
So we are continuously looking at the technologies that can help us with our own problems, right? I think we have a great combination of understanding the technology very well and getting into the farming, right? And when I look at any problem, with the way I'm trained in my IT consulting background is to dissect the problem, look for wastages in terms of movement of the flow, and then eliminate the waste and make it faster, better, and cheaper, right? I would do the same thing here. And as we understand the latest trends of AI and everything well, I feel we would be able to come out with solutions. While we may not be the innovators or inventors of this one, but we are the people who would be able to apply them and integrate them well. Right? And I'm looking at many possibilities in the area of farming with the latest AI coming into picture. Especially, you ask this question of how would you decide on what fertilizer to use?
Right.
It's a great question for AI itself. I use ChatGPT a lot, and we showcase the certain data, we prompt it to get answers, and more than anything, it's a lot of learning. Right? We look at the labels of the pesticides or the fertilizers and understand the label well, what microelements it has, and then chat up to AI and understand if it is good compared to our crops. A lot of those aspects we use, and into the hardware also. We use a lot of devices that would analyze certain conditions, and based on certain conditions, it would trigger certain aspects of it. We have got the IoT devices also.
Okay.
So at some point, we wanted to have a technology wing within our farm, which is into the farm technologies. That's why we called our company as VVF AgTech, Agriculture Technologies.
Yes.
So while we are on the ground farmers, we wanted to get into the technology aspects of farming, and in terms of professional services, the software aspects of the AI, and the real hardware on the ground. And we're also working with different companies from India and local who are into machinery, robotic machinery in the area of farming. Right, so we would collaborate with them, bring those here, and then use for ourselves, and maybe start selling it locally.
Okay.
So yeah, technology adaptation in the farming is something which is very high on our radar.
And what's your message for people who actually, I wouldn't say that they don't have time, but who cannot do this whole exercise, but they are interested in investing. So I'm asking you about from investor's point, like who wants to invest in farming, who cannot work, but they really want to invest and see it growing. So
it all depends on what investment they're talking about. If it is real estate investment, it's like buying a farmland and waiting on it to appreciate.
Okay.
Right? If it is about investment into the businesses, they have to carefully analyze which farming business that they have to invest into, that they make money. It's like a decision on what shares you want to bet on, what shares you want to invest into. Okay, looking at the current company size and the trajectory in which they are going, and have an investment into that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. So any final message you want to give it to our audience?
Farming is a wonderful area to be in, but then come with the clarity that there are good losses. There may be possibility of losses, and when you do things right, there is a good outcome that it can get into. Don't come into farming with a misconception that it's going to be all rosy, you will have a stress-free life, and you will come out of your regular job which is stressful and get into farming and you will have a stress-free job. It's not going to be. It's as stressful as any other job, and be ready for all that and enter into the farming, and I'm sure you'll love it.
Thank you so much, Shashi. It was wonderful talking to you. You have given,
Sure.
I think I have asked you a lot of questions.
No, perfect.
And I think with your knowledge and the research which you have done, you should, I don't know, if you're writing a book, you should definitely write a book about
Definitely.
agriculture. And,
Yes.
basically, I think the title can go with like agriculture in US land,
US land.
in the new land. So wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Farming is not just about growing crops, it's about growing purpose, patience, and possibility, I would say.
Very well
So,
said.
thank you. So, this is Vaishnavi, your host from RadioNyra, signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.